A violent weekend in New York City as a pair of masked gunmen fired 40 shots into a crowd of people in the borough of Queens. 10 people were wounded in the gang-related shooting, which police are calling a brazen and coordinated attack. In total, at least 18 were killed or wounded in 7 separate shootings throughout the Big Apple on Saturday, just the latest round of bloodshed in a historic crime wave. Curtis Sliwa is running for mayor of New York City on the Republican side. He's promising to restore law and order to the streets. Joins me now. Curtis, always good to have you.
My pleasure. You're speaking to me in the belly of the beast, right on that same block where 10 was shot, 3 Trinitario gang members. And the reason I'm here and the Guardian Angels are here is we know there's going to be a retaliatory shooting, a drive-by shooting. The police have vacated the area. You're not going to find my opponent, Eric Adams, and the mayor is too busy playing volleyball and shooting hoops to be concerned about this ongoing gang-related gun violence that's as bad as it can get.
Now, you're out there on the streets right now, and as you point out, you're right near where this most recent high-profile shooting, because of all the people that were in harm's way and were hit. How is this coming about, and what are the people in a neighborhood like the one you're currently in New York City saying about what it feels like to just be out in the streets in daylight, at night, across the board?
Well, the mayor, he talks about, did you get your 2 shots vaccine? Did you get your 1-shot vaccine? And I said, what about all the people who have been shot with lead? You're more likely to end up dying and expiring from being shot in the streets of New York City than not from having a vaccine. And in fact, people are going to have to end up wearing bulletproof vests here, not masks, bulletproof vests. That's how bad it's gotten. But today I said to all the Democratic officials, I said, why aren't we working with ICE, immigration, customs, enforcement? They have the best gang data imaginable. And these were alien immigrant gangs that have been involved in this turf battle. ICE would probably have resolved this situation, but here in New York City, it's a sanctuary city. So there's no tolerance to deal with ICE. In fact, Governor Cuomo has called ICE thugs. Not the guys who did the shooting here that you're watching, but ICE is the thugs. And my opponent, Eric Adams, has disparaged ICE, whereas I have said, wait a second, these are brave men and women out on the front line who are not only grabbing gangbangers from other countries, but pedophiles, drug dealers, bringing them to court, making sure they do their time here before being deported back to their country of origin. Why aren't we using this massive federal resource that can cut the umbilical cord between the gangs in the countries of origin, Central America, Mexico, Dominican Republic, and the United States?
Curtis, I got to ask you, this is really interesting. Obviously, not a lot of news reporting on this. Illegal alien gangs is a major driver of serious violence in New York City or any city. It's not a headline you hear. Can you just, what are these gangs? How do we know about this? And just give us a little more background on it.
Well, remember, it's not the totality of the gang violence. Most of the gang violence is still by homegrown young men, some young women, who grow up in neighborhoods where gun violence is the norm. And the prevailing attitude is that snitches get stitches and end up in ditches. So don't cooperate, don't get involved. So I've proposed that just like Rudy Giuliani broke the back of Italian organized crime, he did it with tools. They had a witness protection program so that if you came forward and you gave information, you could end up in Laramie, Wyoming. Suddenly your first name was Jose, your last name Sanchez. Now you're Ben Smith. You're behind a counter at a 7-Eleven serving Slurpees. Your family has been resettled to a better place, almost as a reward for being a cooperating witness. Or we have to spend more money for snitches, for those who actually are willing to give information. You give them money and they'll lead us to those who are responsible. Now, some of the violence here is caused by illegal aliens who are part of alien gangs, but that's not the majority of the crime. Bloods and Crips, so homeborn gang members, other subsets, homeborn gang members. And they are the domestic terrorists that have taken advantage of the police being impotent because of the defunding the police movement by our mayor and our city council. Also, the no bail provision that was passed by Cuomo in Albany that has made police reactive. not proactive. And the only way to break the back of gangs, whether they're alien gangs or they're domestic homegrown gangs, is you have to preemptively get advance of the curve before all of a sudden there are drive-bys and retaliatory shootings. And then all of a sudden anarchy prevails, especially when the sun goes down.
Curtis, I got to ask, how are the folks on the front lines from the law enforcement side, NYPD primarily, but how are they feeling about the possible change in public sentiment now toward supporting police? And are they feeling like they have at least a greater degree of backing from City Hall and the powers that be to do their jobs now, because it's become so obvious that the city has this really serious crime problem that's gotten out of control in the last 18 months?
Buck, the answer is no, 1,000 times no. The cops know that they're political fodder. I am in the district of AOC, all out crazy, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. 10 people were shot. Where is AOC? All out crazy. She has not shown her face. She has not attended one community outreach. These are immigrants. Some of them illegal, some of them are undocumented. And she's the one who's always saying, I'm there for the poor, impoverished, the indigent. She is missing in action because she is the authoress. She wants to take $3 billion from the police, not the $1 billion. She wants the cops to no longer exist. She doesn't want prisons. She wants criminal gangs who she never, ever addresses in a negative way. MS-13, 18th Street, Trinitarios. She wants them considered to be, youth who have gone astray. Give them midnight basketball. Give them summer jobs, give them after school activities. Are you crazy? They're slinging drugs, making hundreds of dollars an hour. They're carrying 9mm fully loaded. They get arrested and they assume I'm going to jail. And then all of a sudden they get a disappearance ticket, a desk appearance ticket, and they're remanded to the streets, not to jail. And they say, wow, this is great. This is like hitting Powerball and Lotto for gangbangers.